If you struggle with blurry strokes that don't hold pigment or uneven depths when working on real clients, or shaky lines for poor precision on the tails and arch, then this video is for you. And what you will learn in this tutorial is how to stretch the brow in 3 key zones. Then the most common mistakes artists make when the stretching, and the difference between supportive stretching and overly stretchy, and how to use your fingers and tools to lock the skin in place, and how to avoid unnecessary trauma or core retention. And if you're new to my channel, my name is Terry. I help artists skyrocket their skill with Now It's My Time program, the best program out there, and get them booked out with my marketing program, which are the sponsors of today's video. Alright, so first what we will do, we will walk through the mannequin, and then I will show real procedures for you to see and feel the difference and understand better how to stretch the skin. So when I'm working with the client, I typically sit on her right side and I start with the right eyebrow. It doesn't matter where you sit. Actually, you can sit on both sides, on top of the client, behind, or whatever makes your hand stable. So if this is the pre-draw, let's talk about how to stretch our brows part by part. And because I'm sitting on the side, I always start with the tail, the closest part to me. So I would a little bit turn the client to the side, and then I would start with these strokes. So here, actually what you have to do is be very careful. And let me take a tissue as an example. You would want to stretch this into 2 directions. Your finger here and your finger, make sure it's very flat and tight, but also don't overstretch, especially on your tails, because overstretch the area that is already very thin. The tail part is very thin, the skin there is very thin. You don't want to overly stretch. There is just enough to make it flat. You don't have to overly stretch, but I will talk where you should overstretch your skin. And then I will put just pinky beside it, and I will draw my line over here. Sometimes, by the way, at the tail, I could even put it on my thumb and also do the hair stroke like this, because here the pinky doesn't play too crucial part. So again, I try not to put it on my pre-draw, I try to be around. But then when I erase this part, that's where I already will put the finger over here, and I will continue my work. However, there's one important key part, which is these strokes under the spine line. So the stretch that has to be in this part will be different. Now, that's a very important, please pay attention to this part. Here, the part of the skin is very soft, there's no bone. It actually goes under the bone. The bone is here, where our spine line is. This section is going to have a soft skin. So you want to pull the skin up, and with your pinky, pull it down. When I'm working with the client, there's no way I'm going to have nails like this. This is going to be all cut. Also, honestly, nails at the procedure is going to make you very unstable. So this one, it pull up, and this one pulls down. And then the way you do, you either towards yourself or away from yourself. Both ways work. So again, we have this here. If we have a line, let me just draw it. Let's say this is your lower stroke. So you want to pull the skin up, but then this one pulls it down very tightly. Now this is probably the strongest pull you have to do is here. So this skin all have to pull up, and your pinky pull down, and then with this you're going to do hair NanoBrows for your client, or in the other direction. When you are already at this part, yes, your thumb will be on the shape, which already done over here, and it might smudge a little bit the shape, but that is fine, especially if you work with Sharpie pencils. They pretty much stay long enough. Now, when I work with the brow front, I will sit behind the client like this, and I will make sure the client put the head a little bit upwards, and then again, one finger here, one finger behind. I am putting a lot of force on this finger, pulling upwards. Again, I want to pull it up and then just tiny bit to the side. It's not much. It's actually a lot of force with this one, with this pulling the skin upwards, so that the stroke remain the straight curve. You don't want, if you overly pull with this one to the side, the stroke will become more wavy. So you just want to pull in direction. Again, I'm not doing like this, I'm not doing like that. Everything is tight and in place. Everything is around the stroke. Again, for the hair stroke technique, your stretch has to be very tight. So again, and I'm doing this, pulling with this one really strongly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Change the position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. At this part, I can slightly change my hand position because this is the curve, so I need to adjust towards the curve. Again, I am doing this 1, 2, 3, 4, and again for my third stroke. Now with this side, it's easy, but now let's see how I do on the left side, how I stretch the skin on the left side. So the easiest way is to start from the tail. Again, you only have this finger and this finger to pull, stretch. Make sure that this line is straight. If you pull too much with your pinky to the side, it becomes too much curvy. So you finish this, you finish that, you finish the lower stroke a little bit over here. Then you, again, with these two fingers, because we're in the middle part is the danger zone. We pull the skin upwards really hard and then pull this down really hard to make it more flat. But make sure this is already pulled up on the bone. It has the more harder underneath surface. It has the bone under. And then you do the strokes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Again, I'm sitting on still the right side of the client, but I can lean a little bit on top of the client, in front of the client, and then you continue with the strokes. But then with the front strokes, I can lean even more on my client. You can sit behind the client, but just I felt it more easier to work like this. And what I will do is I will put, in this case, push with this finger upwards, because again, I want to bring my brow front upper more. Here already, because this part already done, I can put my pinky over here, and then I can shade from up to down, from up to down, from up to down. There's so many ways how you can do this. You can do from down to up, especially if you're sitting behind the client. You can do the same way. You can stretch the two fingers here. This one pulls to the side. You can do from down to up, down to up. So it works both ways. Now let's see this on the client. Again, if you are in Now It's My Time program, by the way, I probably mentioned this before, but if you're Now It's My Time program, that's your chance to record how you do this on Latex or how you do this on client and submit to the homework session so we can review this together. How you stretch, even down to smallest detail, how you stretch, how you hold your machine or how you hold your pencil, depends on the level you are at. If you're not in Now It's My Time program, do consider, because it's an amazing program where you can have my feedback live. So sometimes when we start working with clients, we really don't know if we're doing this the right way or the wrong way, because we study our course and then we're left alone. We don't know if we are doing things right. And especially if you do the things wrong, you're going to memorize the wrong things, and it's so hard to reteach yourself in the future. And on top, before we dive into the client section, Now It's My Time, you can book a sessions, one-on-one sessions with one of the top artists of mine, and she will just spend time with you, see how you practice this all online at your comfort of your home, how you practice, how you work with clients. So do check it out in the link below. Now we will jump into reviewing the client part. So first, I do want to actually show you how to do the stretch the brow front, and I find this video very useful from my another student. So just take a look how she stretched the skin. You see her thumb, did you see that one, two, and then the pinky. So the pinky actually here not the strongest, but the thumb is the strongest here. And when you pull this whole up, it actually becomes easier for you to work on your hair stroke technique. The canvas, the skin human canvas, becomes more harder underneath. And now let's review how to stretch the middle part. Again, this is my student. Let's review how she did the middle part. So again, two fingers pulling the skin up. You see? Pulling up. pulling upwards. Yes, and the pinky a little bit pulling downwards. But these two fingers, they have to pull the skin like that. Pull the skin up and then do the hair stroke. So let's just see how I stretch the tail. You can see that for the tail, there's not much stretch. These two fingers are making the stroke more straight, and even pinky here doesn't do any job. It's basically just a 2-point direction. Now again, because this is the Asian skin, so it's already flat, but if you, for instance, find out that your skin that you're working with is very stretchy, what you need to do is just reduce the distance between those two fingers to make it more shorter and the area that you're working more fingers closer to each other, so better stretch. Now, did you see how I brought this part, the arch part, a little bit towards the bone? Right now, take a look how I do the arch point. So I brought all this part on the bone. The reason I pushed it with my fingers a little bit down is actually I just pushed the skin on the bone because the bone is the hardest part. Again, the arch point there was already above the bone where was the softer skin area. So I just put it down, bring it down to the bone. You always want to make sure you're working on the bone because it's have a hard platform underneath. And if it's soft, it's just going to bounce back the needle and you won't implement the pigment. Again, even over here, you have to find the position at which the strokes that you're going to draw on will be on the bone. And also when you work on the other side, the same thing, you want to make sure you bring it on the bone. And as you can see, the right hand is already on the eye. Just put it on the eye and make sure these two fingers are stretching nicely, and then your pinky is just the supportive stretch. Now, what I mean by supportive stretch versus overstretching, if your pinky here stretch too much, the curve of the line will be different. You're just going to change the curve, and you don't want to do that. So it's actually 2-point stretch, but the pinky is more or less supporting the line. Just make it sure it's flat, but not overly stretched, not to disturb the hair stroke line. And let's to see this model, how I stretch in this case, and to see the left side. So again, here on the left side, for instance, I do put my fingers on the pre-draw and stretch it again. In this case, because I'm working on the spine line, I am stretching. The goal of the stretch is to make sure I stretch the specific line that I'm working with. So if I'm working on a spine line, I'm stretching in the direction of the spine line, and pinky is just plays a supportive part. Now, one thing I want to say and be very, very honest to you so you see and feel the difference. The skin that I'm working here right now is already very good and very flat. Most of the trainers, they would want to show you really good videos on very good skin. But in reality, when you will work with the real skin, which is very stretchy, it's not in a good condition, it's not perfect, you would not be able to stretch like I do, where your fingers are so much apart from each other. In reality, when you work with the skin that needs to be more tight, that is very stretchy and not flat, you would want to make sure, if you're working on this line, that your fingers are around the stroke that you're working with. That's a huge key point that I want to share with you. Don't be fooled by these amazingly looking videos, because obviously the models that we pick to showcase our work is obviously with the best skin. But in reality, when you work with a normal skin, you need to stretch the tiny little part. And for you, your next challenge would be to watch this video and to again memorize or practice, if you have Mannequin, would be so useful to practice the hand position, even using the tissue and drawing the line and just see and feel how to stretch it so you feel more confident. And actually, Mannequin really helps also with practicing your hair stroke, although this is a stage 2 after you practice on latex. But you can also put the latex on top of the Mannequin and practice on top of the Mannequin right away. Just cut the latex into small pieces and I just stick it on the Mannequin so you can get used to the feel of a real head working with the real client, which helps with the confidence. And if you're serious about improving your hair stroke technique, not just in theory, but through real practice on latex and live models, inside Now It's My Time program, we break it down into step-by-step together during live Zoom calls where we practice and get our hands-on training session. Because you don't have to figure this out all alone anymore. So I want to invite you to this amazing program. Click the link below to try it out. And I will see you on the inside. And for the rest of you, I will see you on my next tutorials next week on Beauty Slash.